Most people think an inheritance is like winning the lottery, free money to spend however you want. But here's what nobody tells you: an inheritance handled poorly can actually set you back financially. Seriously, I've seen it happen dozens of times in my 40 years in this business. I am Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. So you've received an inheritance. Maybe it's from a parent, grandparent, or other family member who cared enough about you to include you in their estate planning. First, my condolences. If someone left you money, chances are you're dealing with grief, and that's important. Here's my first piece of advice: take your time. Don't make any major financial decisions while you're grieving. The money isn't going anywhere. And most decisions can wait until you've had time to process everything. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They think they need to keep the inheritance exactly as they received it. Maybe it's stocks their dad owned, or a rental property their grandmother had for 30 years. They feel like changing anything would be disrespectful. But here's the truth: what made sense for your relative's financial situation might not make sense for yours. Your parents might have been in their 70s with no debt and different risk tolerance. You might be in your 40s or 50s with a mortgage, kids heading to college, and credit card debt at 24% interest. Ow! This is where strategic debt management comes into play. Remember, strategy beats rate always. Let me share a client story. A woman I'll call Susan inherited $150,000 from her father. She had $45,000 in high interest debt, credit cards, a car loan, some medical bills. Her financial advisor told her to invest to the inheritance. Sounds smart, right? But when we looked at her household blended interest rate, she was paying an average of 18% on her debt. Ow! Even if her investments returned 8% annually, she'd still be losing 10% every year. That's not strategy. That's math working against you. We repositioned her debt strategically, improved her monthly cash flow by $1,200, and then invested what was left over. Now her money is actually working for her, not just sitting there while debt compounds against her. Here's another thing people miss: tax implications. If you've inherited an IRA, there are specific rules. Non-spouse beneficiaries generally need to distribute the entire account within 10 years of owner's death. If you don't know that rule, you could face penalties that eat into your inheritance. I am not giving tax advice. Check with your tax advisors about that to see if I'm right. And speaking of rules, the state laws have changed specifically over the years. What your neighbor told you 5 years ago about inheritance taxes might not be accurate today. So what should you do? First, don't go it alone. The laws, choices, and potential pitfalls are complex. You need experienced professionals, and I don't just mean me. You might need an estate attorney, a tax advisor, and someone who understands strategic debt management. Second, think about your own family situation. How does this inheritance change your financial picture? Should you pay off debt, reposition your mortgage, increase your emergency fund? These aren't one-size-fits-all answers. Third, evaluate everything through safety, liquidity, and return in that order. Is your inheritance in a safe form for your situation? Do you have access to it when needed? And only then, what kind of return can it generate? Here's what I tell everyone. The goal isn't to keep the inheritance exactly as you received it. The goal is to honor your loved one's legacy by using it to genuinely improve your family's financial future. That might mean repositioning assets, paying down strategic debt, or restructuring how the money is held. It's about suitability for your situation, not just what was suitable for the person who left it to you. Bottom line, if you've received an inheritance or expect to in the future, let's talk about how to integrate it into your overall financial strategy. Head to rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps to get your financial house in order, or give us a call to schedule the conversation, because an inheritance isn't just money. It's an opportunity to build lasting wealth for your family, but only if you handle it strategically. That is the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management, reminding you, strategy beats rate always. Strategy beats rate always. Again, Borrow Smart, brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com, GetHomeSelect.com.